Hello, this is JilliBling. Today's project is a fun fold, and it's using the Refreshed Beauty designer paper. So I have myself a challenge, and that is to use at least one or make one project using each sheet of the designer paper. And this is the third one. I'll show you the other two here in just a minute. But this is designer paper, and this is a different sheet of the designer paper. So what do you think? That's today's project. And this is the prior project using two different sheets of the designer paper. And I love how this one came out. These are watercolored leaves and flowers to get that bright look. But that's the prior video, and you're welcome to take a look at that. And then the first project is using a different sheet. And this is with Charming Day bundle. So there's the first one, card number 2. And in the video description, I have all the paper cut sizes for this project. Well, actually for all of them. I have five designs that are going to be going. Number 1, 2, and 3 are there already. So we'll be using Spotlight on Nature for the greetings, and then also the butterfly. Gallery Blooms for, do you have to put stickies all over everything to remember things? For this stamp here, because I think it's very similar to this. And that's what's used on the inside in Flirty Flamingo. And Layers of Beauty for this tag. And Beautiful Motifs for this die cut, which is similar to this. They probably planned it that way. And Unbound Dies for the scalloped oval and this floral oval. Those both come from this die set. And then these little pieces, that's a separate die, and it does 2 of these branches that perfectly match the front. Okay, let's get started. Only 2 ink pads, Memento and Flirty Flamingo. We'll be using a few of the blends to color in the butterfly. And Antique Pearls. We'll use those in a few minutes. Here's all the papers. Here's the designer paper. And this all started because Donna, a friend of mine, sent a message saying, I got this paper, I'm not sure about it. So I pulled out my pack of paper. I have 2 packs of paper. And I'm like, ooh, that's bright. And if you look at all my prior projects, I usually don't use bright cardstock or designer paper. Some of it, yes. But I like to color the focal image in bright colors. So this just, it was a little challenging, but oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. So far, I've loved every project. But this is more just to prove that, yep, I could do it. I have something planned with these Lemon Lime Twist, Granny Apple Green, oak leaves. This is the one we're using today. So some of these are used twice. This is in yesterday's project. Yesterday's. Not using either of those. This is yesterday's. This one is tomorrow's project. The birds are cute, the owls. I like owls. I like this paper. It's just I have a hard time using it. Maybe unless you cut out the owls, that could be cute. This is today's paper. And more birds. This was project number 1 paper. So there's all the papers. Having fun with this project though. And in color, Glimmer paper will be used for this one right here, which is Peach Pie paper. And if you're like, oh, you need extra pieces to cut out all these little embellishments, I cut them all out right underneath this sheet. And I'll show you about that here in just a minute. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so these are the front pieces. Front pieces, middle piece for right here, and inside. So this is just cardstock cut in half like we normally do, but one sheet is just a little bit smaller then the other. And that's so when you're holding your card, like this closed one, it's like, okay, it's all contained right here. If you didn't trim it just a little bit shorter, it would be sticking out. Like this fold right here would be a little bit overhanging the bottom piece of cardstock. So if you trim it just a little bit, it tucks in there perfectly, and it's all one level. And I trimmed off maybe a 1/16 or a 32nd of an inch, very small. So for right now, we're just gonna fold these in half, and one of them will be narrower than the other. This one went together pretty quick. I kept thinking, oh, I need to add a ribbon on the front. Oh, I should do this or that. And it's like, no, it's the paper is really pretty. And how many times have we had designer paper that has a beautiful arrangement on it? Okay, let's see, which one is? This one here is a little bit smaller. See, just a little bit. So just a little bit smaller. See that right here? Okay, so this one is going to tuck inside right here. So since I have that all figured out, I'll attach it. And hopefully I cut them to the same height, but you never know. So at the bottom, they'll scooch because it's glue. Oop, that's hanging over a little bit. Well, it might be the bottom that I need to trim, because sometimes you need to trim. That looks good. This looks good. Down here, it's just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go to my paper cutter. Maybe I could scooch it in a little bit. Maybe it's still wet. Ooh. No, it's not worth it. Because I see right here it's just a little bit like angled downward, which would make these more equal. But hold on, I'm going to go over to my paper cutter and I'm going to cut this just so that those are perfectly equal. Okay, they're good now. I think if I would have scooched it up, I wouldn't have had to do that. Okay, we're set. So, this piece goes in the middle. Nothing to do other than stick it in, so we could do that. Sometimes you have to stamp or wrap a ribbon around. This one, we're just gonna stick it in the middle. Just like that. Okay, let that dry. This peach pie piece goes to the inside. No Stampin' on that, because that's just a layer. Just to bring the colors from the outside to the inside. Vanilla, peach pie, and Flirty Flamingo. And after we stamp on this one, that will go right there. So for the front, I would stick this on, but look at all that beautifulness. Let's take advantage of that using these dies. And if you want to talk about frugal, tell me what you think. All of those dies cut out of this paper, and because there's such a little layer reveal showing right here, we could get away with that. Because when you're looking at this, did you know that there's holes under here? No, because you're not writing on it, you're not really touching it. But just make sure to stay away from this little layer and it'll be good. Okay, don't have them touching. And these dies in this paper, it's good to run it back and forth, maybe 2 times. Usually 1 time is enough, but this time I found it's better if you go back and forth a few times, because I really had to work at poking out the pieces for this card. Some of them I had to use my scissors to kind of trim it. So, back and forth. So here's this. A little bit funky, but it's worth it because we get all those pretty pieces. And here are the pretty pieces. Just like that. Okay, so we can attach this. And because this paper is pretty well loved, I might put a block or two on it just to weight it down. Because once it's attached, the outside looks good, but this is kind of buckling up. And that will help hold it all flat. So I'm going to be a little generous on the glue because I want it to hold it and get it to the edges. Okay, so not just that, but let's creep into some of these little bridged parts just to make sure that it will lay flat for us. And it will. Okay, I think that's pretty generous. And put it on here. Because I have so much glue, it'll probably be easy to scooch around too. Looking at the perimeter, that's good. Don't need no glue showing through. It's going to get on my block. Okay, so that looks good. Once I put a block on all these pieces, it'll flatten out. So I'm going to use this block. I'm going to set it off to the side. How about right up here? This block. Might be needing that one. And how about that? I'll just kind of hold it down while it dries. Okay, let's see what else we can work on. You just sit there and dry. Let's do these two pieces. Go onto this one paper. Vanilla. And I'm going to put Dear Friend and Thanks. Let me check something. So this die is interesting. And I say that only because in my head I'm saying I'm going to do it right. So when you look at that on the grid paper, does that look like the widest points and the widest point? Oh, this is interesting. This is why I got a little confused. So what I'm talking about is, see the scallops, the shape of them? And then see the scallops over here? I think you would kind of assume that the two largest points are the center, and I'm basing it off of this line, but that's crooked. So it's more, it looks good in the end. But some of you know where I'm going with that. If you have this and you try to center, it's like, what's happening? Even the top to the bottom. The top, I think that this top part of the scallop, the highest point, but then down here, it's more of the lowest point. So to get it straight, put it in here. And see, that's also confirming there's enough room. I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo, stamp Dear Friend, and then stamp Thanks. So here's Dear Friend, and this will fit right through the die. Okay, that's good. And then Thanks, you just keep holding that down there. It's going to go into here. And I just know that I want it up high on the paper, right about there. If I were to try to stamp it, the rubber is bigger than the hole, so it will get in the way. So I'm going to squish it out of the way, swoosh it, just with a swoosh, and put it right about here. And there was a little extra margin to put it. I'll let it dry, and then I'll set it over the top. Okay, now I'll use washi tape to hold those in place. And the thing is, I could still see them kind of shining, they're still wet, is lining it up. And you could use any shape. If you have a punch or anything, that you want to use, that you have handy, that will be good. So I'm just looking at, I'm not going to look at the scalps, the inside part of the oval, where is the whitest? And I'm thinking it's here and here, therefore that's straight. Because on the sample, I went for largest part of the scalp to largest part of the scallop, and it's crooked, which is why the butterfly is right there. Because if you look over here, the oval is kind of tilting downward. But I had to have the word straight. Okay, and then the thanks. Let's get that in place. And when you look at this, you're like, oh, the die is too small. But the die cuts close to the outside edge, beyond midpoint. Because I'm talking about it cutting right here. So where all the stitching is, it's okay to have the message there. It's so small. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out. That turned out, and this time this one turned out. Okay, and then I will cut a butterfly, stamp it, and I'm going to stamp it in Memento, just because I'm going to color it in using the blends. Maybe I could get 3 of them. Okay. Then I use my snips and cut this out, just one of them. Here's that. So let's see what was drying. Let's see how that's doing with the drying. I could use a little bit more, but it's flattening out quite well. I see a little bit of a high point here and here, but the perimeter is good. So I could dry just a little bit more. How about if we work on the inside? Because I could go get another block. Okay, so the inside we're going to do in Flirty Flamingo, and this is from the stamp set Gallery Blooms. Like, isn't that very similar to this right here? This one is multicolored, but that's very similar. So just down at the bottom, push that over. We'll color the butterfly next. Ooh, and do the words on the front. This is done. Oh, it's hiding in the weighted. Some of you knew that, huh? So you have to get it out of there. It's hiding right here. That's what we want. Okay, so just kind of random. Some tall, some not so tall. And I didn't put any words on it because I have words on the front and on the middle. And this will be a nice place to write a note to dear friend. Maybe a little over there. Do I have to cover every spot? Probably not. So down at the bottom, I have these little pieces of the peach pie glimmer paper, And let me show you that die. So there's two different ones. And I think they're intended to go around the oval. Like maybe to, if this was here, maybe to embellish this further. Maybe in a different color. Because see how they're a little bit rounded? Maybe like that. But once you put glue on them, and you can even see here how they're rounded. Too big, too little. 4 pieces. But once you get glue on the back of the glimmer paper, you could kind of straighten it out, probably as much as you want, and I wanted it to be a little bit straightened out. So I have the 2 big ones, and then the little one kind of embellishing this inside one. And I did it based off of where there was vanilla space. So I left no vanilla space. Let's just lay these out and see. That one's good. And keep in mind, I'm gonna make them a little bit straighter rather than curved. This one, oh, I like how it's taller. This is for the front, this is for the middle, then this one can be over there. Okay, so that's the plan. So I'm gonna put glue just on the top half of it, and particularly the middle of it, because the outside edges has all these little delicate eyelet type holes. And I'm doing only half of it because if I did the whole thing, I'd be really messy. So that's sticking down. Same thing with this one. Just in the middle of it, only halfway. And then if there's any solid little flowers, rather than the ones with the hole, the eyelet in them, I'll put glue on there. Okay, I was a little bit extra generous on the glue. So when I flip this over, I'll probably just leave it, let it sit, because if it goes over a stamped area, it might smudge the stamped area, just because I have so much glue. It'll kind of reactivate the ink. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that go. And keep in mind, at this point, just the tops are glued. I'll come back and I'll glue the bottoms after they set up a little bit. So this one I'll glue all except that top little bit. See, that time I'm being stingy on the glue. But that's good, because it'll dry quick. This one, how about if it goes from here? See if I could move it. So I'm kind of straightening it out a little bit. The glue softens the fibers, so I could do that. So that one is a bit straight. Okay, and then this one, I'll keep it curvy. I'll have it going more upright. So it's part of this one. Or maybe it could go over here. No, that's just a mess. It's just a mess. Okay, hold on to the top part. Thinking about the next 2 projects, I have them planned out. And I'm kind of excited about both of them. Do you ever wake up in the night and you're like, okay, go back to sleep? And you just kind of start thinking about things, and usually I fall right back to sleep. But I like to think about, especially if I'm excited about a project, it's like, oh, I'll think about that. Not that it puts me to sleep, but that's a happy thought to sleep too. I get good sleep. Talking to friends, sometimes I just don't say anything because a lot of people don't. Okay, so this one I want to straighten out. So I'm pushing it over to the left a little bit. Because I straightened it out so much, a bit of it's hanging over, but I'm going to pretend like I planned that. Then I'll do the same with this one. Ooh. Then this little guy won't be connected. Okay, I'll put it right about there. Right about there. Okay, dry. And that's all that's to the inside. It gives you just an area to write. It's very cute, very decorated. Okay, and I would put it in, but it's underweight, so let's just let it sit. Well, let's do the word label. So this, and again, I'm going to do the same process where thinking of where it will bend. I think it'll bend easy here and maybe easy up here. So I'll just do half of it with glue, set it in place, and then after it dries just a little bit, I'll come back and do more glue on the other half of it. And this, there's no reason to try to manipulate the shape. We'll just leave it the perfect oval that it is, and it goes right over the stitching. So stitching, stitching. Okay, half of it's glued, half of it isn't. And just to make sure that it doesn't warp, because right now from the die cut, everything, it's a little bit warped. So that can dry. Let's color the butterfly. So the butterfly has quite a few colors in it, and you don't have to do as much. In here I put Pretty Peacock Lost Lagoon, and then Pool Party, and then Stella, a wink of Stella. So Pretty Peacock. And because it's so small, I didn't take much time to do any of the blending, not much. Pretty Peacock Dark. Pretty Peacock Dark. Pretty Peacock Dark. Okay, then Pretty Peacock Light. Yeah, I'm going to use 6 colors on one tiny butterfly. This is a special butterfly. So this is going to go up just a little bit higher. But you can tell I'm not really trying to blend it much. Okay. Then Lost Lagoon Dark. Aren't those pretty together? Lost Lagoon Dark. Lost Lagoon Light. And that will fill out this whole little butterfly section. And if I see any open spots, they're going to be this color. Four colors, one little butterfly section. And on my blog, I'll put photos of the inside and outside, a lot of photos. So if you want to recreate it, you can. Here's my blog. You can look at the pictures, and then you could see, oh, okay, that's where you do this color, that's where you do that color. And also sometimes if you have all the dyes and everything, it's good to have a reference of where you put it compared to the outside edge of the paper. It's just nice to have photos. Okay, this is Pool Party Dark. And then I'll fill in the rest of it with Pool Party Light. So it's now going to be 100% colored. Sometimes I wonder, is the marker working? Yeah. It's just different coloring on vanilla paper rather than white. Okay, the butterfly is colored. So all of those. Oh, that's holding it down. It's pretty flat. Okay, let's see about putting this on the inside. See, that's all the way flat now. That worked out good. Oh, we could put the front on. Let's do that. Because I'm attaching regular paper to glimmer paper, I'll be a little heavy on the glue. Because all that glue is going to soak down into those bits of glitter. Glue everywhere. Little bit of a border, just to show off the sparkle. Okay. That. Let's give it a minute with the, just to attach. There it is. Okay, so for the tag that goes on the middle panel, I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla baker's twine from the Baker's Twine Essential Pack. Right here. Just a bit. So fold it in half. Oh, I have a trick. But before I show you the trick, putting these through here is challenging. Putting that through there is challenging. So the trick is put glue on them and we'll trim them off. Trim off the glue area. For one end, for the other end. Because once this glue starts to dry, it will keep all those little fibers together. Okay. Oh, I know, let's stick down this bottom bit. And I could put it all on here, but I know it's going to cover this cute little stitching, so I'll just put the glue there. Okay, let's see how this is. So now the ends, you don't see the glue, but look how all those ends are staying together. So I'll put this through, no problem. Then I'll put this other one through. No problem. And I'll trim that off. And, or maybe it's nice if they stay together. So there's that. So trim them at different lengths to make the glue on. Okay, one piece to throw away. I'll find it. Okay, so this should be good. Yeah, that's all the way stuck down. So let's put the middle piece in, or the inside piece in. Okay, so the inside is done. This needs this piece. So I'll put glue on the top, let it dry, then I'll put glue on the bottom after it has a minute to dry. We're kind of jumping all over, but that's just letting things dry. I'll go down to this leaf. Oop, got a little heavy there. It's heavy. It's loaded with glue. The bottom could go here, right in the middle. That's good. Good. That's where I was heavy with glue. And I purposely, leaves cluster 1, 2, 3, I left that not glued because I'm going to have it partially over the tag. See how it's a little bit over the tag right here? So to put the tag on, I'll put glue all over the top. There's that other piece. And a dimensional at the bottom, just so it looks like it's sticking up a little bit. And I'm going to put glue into the baker's twine. So all over here, into the baker's twine, onto the knot, then that's enough. Kind of a mess. And I want that little leaf on top of the tag. Right there, because you could still now read the word thanks. And that has a lot of glue in it, so just let that dry. Okay. And while that's drying, we could put the label on the front, because I think it's all stuck together. Yep. And the label on the front goes on with dimensionals. And looking at the pattern, I like all these little Flirty Flamingo flower tops. Right here, there's none, so I might put the words like right here. And then the butterfly, I kind of want them right here. How about like that? This one I was covering up because I stamped on the scallop crooked. I was trying to cover up the high point of the scallop. But this one, because it's stamped straight, I'll put it right here. And each piece of the paper is different, so there'll be a different place for each butterfly. You could get 6 cards out of this. And let's put Stella on the butterfly wings. And because it's blends that we use to color it, it won't smear, which is nice. Because if I used aqua painter, this might smear. And re-inker or ink pad, because that's water soluble. The blends are alcohol markers. Okay, so that's good. We still need to put the bling on it. If I forget, let's attach this last little bit of the flower, the branch. It's a little bit heavy right there. And I'm fine with it being over the label, but I don't want it to interrupt the words so you're not sure what it says. I don't want it to say think. Somebody's going to say think. What am I thinking about? What are you telling me to think? Thanks. Right there. You could still see what it says. Okay, so that's done. This is done. And this just needs embellishments. So I'm going to use antique pearls, which are, they work with just about everything, especially vanilla paper. So I will use one of each size, a large in a medium. Where should I put them? How about over here? In a small. How did these two small ones get down here? I don't know. I'll fix that. Right there. Okay, that's today's project. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.